Welcome to WBC Faster Together, the LinkedIn Live series of the Women Business Collaborative. I'm your co-host, Linda Peek Schacht. My co-host, Gwen Young, is away today. WBC is an unprecedented alliance of over 65 women's business organizations and hundreds of business leaders building a movement to achieve equal position, pay, and power for all women in business. Through collaboration, advocacy, action, and accountability, we are mobilizing thousands of diverse professional women and men, business organizations, public and private companies to accelerate change. Check out the chat for our 9 action initiatives driving that change to increase women in the C-suite and the boardroom, to address underrepresentation of women and access to capital and in certain industries, and to advance a pipeline of women leaders to bring gender and pay parity and diversity, equity, and inclusion to the business landscape. The power of collaboration is already creating momentum and accelerating the pace of change for businesswomen. And this LinkedIn Live series is designed to share our work. Every week, we look at one of the key areas where we are advocating change. We present our data, research, and best practices. We lift up women's voices for change. And we show the importance of cross-generational collaboration and the allyship of men in the movement. Today, I'm talking with Sharon Reynolds and Nick Cober as we begin a year-long look at cross-generational learning and leading. Once a month, we'll talk with women of multiple generations about the power of reverse mentorship. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge the geopolitical situation and ask us to remember our fellow world citizens who are facing war. I have women journalist friends in the Ukraine, and I know many of you have friends in these regions who need our support at this time. We also want to acknowledge the good news this week on the equal pay front with the landmark settlement for women's soccer, and we'll be devoting an upcoming session to that successful campaign and effort. But now for today's interview. We have no better pair than Nick Cober and Sharon Reynolds to kick off our series of conversations about cross-generational learning and leading. Sharon is president and CEO of DevMar Products, of DevMar Healthcare Solutions, of DevMar Manufacturing, and of Bryla J. Couture Clothiers. She is a serial entrepreneur whose innovations and patents have helped us stay healthy during COVID, who shares her sense of fashion with us in her clothing line, and whose dedication to women is seen as a member of the board of the Women Business Collaborative and chair of our advisory council, and her numerous honors, including the 2019 Women of the Year for Enterprising Women magazine, on whose board she serves. She also is the 2019 Star Award for the Women's Business Enterprise National Council, and she has received honors from 100 Black Men and the Women's Business President's Organization. Nick Cober is an executive coach and business strategist who specializes in developing management, legal, and branding strategies for leaders in the business world. She is principal managing partner of Cober Johnson Romney, and she's recipient of the 2018 Enterprising Woman of the Year Award. She is the founder of the Bow Collective, a professional organization and nonprofit of Black women business owners dedicated to bringing financial opportunities to scale for businesses that exceed 1 million annual revenues. The Bow Collective recently honored WBC's founder, Edie Fraser. Nick is also a presidential appointee to the National Women's Business Council, among many other honors. Sharon and Nick, welcome. Tell us how you met and how your relationship started. Nick, why don't you kick us off?
Well, thank you so much. So this is an honor to sit with one of my sheroes as we serve collaboratively on WPC. But Sharon and I met. The women business ecosystem is very small, and I had the pleasure of meeting her in 2019 at the Enterprising Women's Conference, where we just connected, like-minded women really trying to not only grow our own businesses, but grow and encourage and support others. And you just felt that kinship. And over the years, we've stayed connected, and are now founding members of this amazing organization, the Bow Collective. And I just couldn't be more proud to have her not only support, but really agile. She's an agile leader. She really supports as well as suggests. That is a very magical combination. And I'm just so joyful to be her friend and colleague.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks for that. Sharon, what about you? How do you remember your relationship started?
Thank you so much, Nicole. And thank you, Linda, for this platform. You know, when I met Nick at the Enterprise and Women Conference, I observed her from a distance. And what resonated with me was her energy and how she was selflessly giving back to the girls in the Young Enterprise and Women Foundation. And then when I saw her and heard her speech on stage, and I said, I've got to know this dynamic woman. Who is she? And one thing led to another, and we did connect and collaborate and stayed in touch through social media, our social media platform. But what I've learned about Nick more than anything is that she gives selflessly, and she absolutely loves what she does with passion. And her passion for women and helping women in business and helping them grow to the next level, as you'll learn more about the Bow Collective, has been unbelievable to watch. And I'm just so glad I have her in my circle, and so much more to come from Nick for generations for women. And I'm so honored to be her friend.
Well, there's a Harvard Business Review piece called "Mentoring is Not a One-Way Street." So how has that worked out in your relationship? What have you learned from each other? Sharon, why don't you go first, since this is about reverse mentoring? What have you learned from the younger Nick?
What I've learned from the younger Nick and the younger generation is that these women are fearless. I mean, so I know for a fact, Linda, you know, we've paved the way for things to happen more fluidly for women who are coming behind us. But I love the fact that they have the energy and the fearlessness that it takes to get to the next level. My Aunt Gloria told me when I was a little girl, she said, never take no for an answer. And a no to me is a yes. And I see that in the passion of the women who are coming behind us doing absolutely wonderful things. Nick is a true example of that, how she single-handedly launched a vision for African-American women in business. I mean, we were just talking about it not even 8-10 weeks ago at the Enterprise and Women Conference last year. I mean, it was just unbelievable, the vision she had that she shared and put it into immediate action. That, to me, that's fearlessness. And so when I look at how we have engaged together and how we're growing together and looking to what's going to happen to women in the future, the future is very bright. And I know there's so much more to come from Nick as we navigate through Bow. One of the things I always like to say is that we have to give each other time. Each generation has something to share. The pitfalls, the successes, everything that we have experienced, we have to give that back to one another.
Well, so Nick, she says you're bold, you're fearless. She's been inspired by that and by your quick action. So what have you learned from Sharon?
This is so easy. This is a softball answer. So, you know, both she and I have to say Edie, you know, observing, I'm a student. Fundamentally, I'm a student of success. I look at people who have done it. I always encourage my business mentees that, you know, you never have to go it alone, and look at the best that do it. And then you put your brand, your energy, your spin on things. And so talking with Sharon, seeing how she navigates relationships and resources, and Edie as well, that where she takes that advocacy, that love for women, that love for entrepreneurship and equity, and she brings people together. And if I am anything other than being a student, it really is, I want to bring people together. I want to bring, for example, with Bow, Black women into the fold, not isolate. I want to bring them into the resources, into what WBC has to offer. Those relationships and resources are sometimes in other rooms that we're not in. And so my strategy, looking at Sharon, befriending Edie, and having them be so open to that collective process is the magic. And so when you have mentors, leaders like these two, like Sharon, it really makes my job very easy. So.
Well, you know, it sounds like the Bow Collective is cross-generational mentoring on steroids, that you've been able to tap into the contacts and the experience across generations. Can you tell us now more about the Bow Collective, about how you started it, what your goals are, how you're going to measure success?
Absolutely. So the Bow Collective is the Black Women's Owners Organization. And what we want to do is focus on three things: capital, contracts, and communication, and bringing us together to do business together. That's part of the magic. Instead of competition being a paradigm for success, it really is collaboration. So where we have, 5 communication firms in the collective, or 7 land developers, instead of going after contracts alone, we're saying, how can we really bring the Justice League, the superpowers together and get bigger wins together? Number one. Number two, you talk about cross-generational. The Bow Collective, even though we are made up and comprised of African-American women, we definitely have a great differentiator in terms of demographics. We are all across the country. Our members are all across the country. We have different age groups. We have different practice sectors. So those things are really great in terms of having different perspectives at the table. I always call it Rubik's cubing. When you have diversity at the table, you get the benefit of having all of those different ways to attack a problem strategically. So we have always seen that as the special sauce of what we're trying to do, is bringing together different opinions, different strategies, but going in one direction together. And so we're just so grateful that everyone has been not only receptive, Sharon, but like in the enthusiasm, it's catalytic. When you can do all good things when you have an open heart and brilliant minds at the table.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll add to that, because Bow, like the WBC, is one of the most prolific organizations I think we'll have of our time. I think we're the only organization of its kind in the United States. And to be exposed to 49 other phenomenal businesswomen, and the fact that we can come together for larger contractual opportunities and scale and partner would be just another thing I think that is so necessary in our group that's needed. So what I love about the women that have come together is that it's that sense of openness, that sense of giving, that sense of sharing information, that sense of camaraderie and collectiveness. So it just I think everybody just buckle your seatbelt, because the Bow Collective is here to stay. And we're going to do things to empower our own businesses, yet empower the communities in which we live and serve. So my whole thing about being a part of Bow is that it will help my business grow to the next level. But my whole focus is on at-risk children in the communities that I serve. And how can we do that? How can we make a difference in their lives? So what we do in Bow has far-reaching tentacles to help our communities and help our neighbors, and to be able to grow our businesses, to create generational wealth. There's just so many tentacles to it that make it so positive. And then to be a part of the WBC is really icing on the cake. And we're so happy to have Nicole join us as one of our co-chairs of the Advisory Council. And her focus will be on Black entrepreneurs, women. And so it's just fantastic to bring that scenario into the WBC for more growth and empowerment of our Black women-owned businesses.
That's so many good ideas there. I love the concept, Nick, that it's a justice league coming together, and that's extended by your comments, Sharon, about not just business, but moving into the community and affecting the communities as well. So can Nick, you first tell us, what will it look like when Bo is successful? What does success look like? Obviously, your collaboration is already successful, but how are you going to measure it?
Oh, wonderful question. So on a couple of levels, our first year by Q4, we're going to be reporting out in fundamental categories. Where were the wins internally? Like how many contracts did we win together? How many business ventures did we go after together? That will be a success. If we can have, where our goal is 20% growth of our individual businesses. And, I know my members trust me. And so I am laser focused. I know that we can do so many things, but I want their businesses to grow. And I want it to grow because of the relationships they fostered with Bo, number one. Number two, we're really we have amazing subcommittees where they are collating our data for capital. We're going to go to banks together, get a whole slew of them across the board. And then we're going to report out again in Q4 to say, hey, we had 50 businesses or 20 businesses go out, and X number of those businesses were able to secure capital. No one wants to be on the downside of that list, right? So that's the power of the collective, that in isolation, if we're being denied loans, that's personal, that's shaming, you keep it to yourself. But when we link up together, there is power in that. But we also know that the WBC is a tremendous resource partner on the issue of capital. So bringing these women and having them be known by name, having their businesses be known, and making those networks, that ecosystem, bringing them into the fold, that will be a win for us. And then finally, in the private sector and the public space, we're going directly to government entities and doing presentations together. We're going directly to large Fortune 100 companies together, saying, hey, we have the ability to get your IT business together. We have the ability to get some of your legal work together or your communications work together. It's a different model. It's small and mighty, but I believe it is transformative and one that can be replicated from in different regions. I believe that we will have different chapters that grow. But I said this earlier, I hope that we are duplicated. I hope that we are emulated. I hope that women say, hey, I know 10 businesses. We can do what Bo's doing. Do that, girlfriend. Do that. I want you to, because it's a different model that is going to work, that makes us not enemies, that makes us friends, that makes us sisters, and makes us money together.
And to Nick's point, I want to add, Linda, that, I love the topic cross-generational mentoring, because that's exactly what's going on in Bo right now with our different age groups, our different levels of experience and expertise. So I'm right there, and it's happening. And so I can see the results already in such a short period of time. We have all the women in the Bo Collective, and many of us are working together. There are 6 women right now that I'm working with inside of Bo, that we can work together in our own businesses. So yes, I love what Nick said. Let the other women say, look, this is a great model, so that we can have impact across the country and really, really across the world.
Well, I just thank you both so much for being with us today. One last thing quickly, Nick, if someone wants to get involved with the Bo Collective, start a chapter in their city, what do they do?
Oh my gracious, we're putting the cart before the horse. I just want to say, my first goal, we are not thinking about any other chapter until I get these 50 women, these 50 businesses, amazing contracts and capital. And once we do that, then we will have a template off of those to measure, but I do want to say we hope to be the pipeline for Black businesses. We have members that are 250 and above, our sister business owners. We are doing mentorship with them. And then we have those who are starting businesses and under 250, our starter scalers. So if you want more information, please visit us at thebocollective.org. We will be doing podcasts. We will be doing training because we really want to bring all of these women along with the resources. And again, when we have dynamos like Sharon that are not only willing to mentor us, but give back and work with us, I think we got a great thing going here that can be replicated.
Thank you so much for being with us. That's all we have time for today. I want you to join us next week when Gwen will be sharing WBC's efforts and best practices on building and expanding the pipeline for women leaders. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank
and goodbye.
you.